Fellas, for tonight's championship round, starting the number 5 position, he won here just 2 years ago from Milwaukee, Oregon, Dave Husted. His opponent in the opening test is 2-time PBA champ Scott Devers, the only left-hander to survive the final cut. Bowling out of the middle of the pack, it's newcomer Bryan Alpert out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Holding down the number 2 position is veteran Ernie Schlegel, who came within 1 game of leading this tournament. And on top of the leaderboard after 42 games is 30-year-old Ray Valdovino, making his first ever appearance on national television. Welcome, everyone, to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl in Dublin, California for the championship round finals of the $130,000 Kessler Open. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner. Welcome to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl in the beautiful Bay Area. And working with me once again is PBA Hall of Famer Mike Durbin. And, Mike, it's inevitable when the National Tour players come back out at the beginning of the summer, we always have a couple of rookies that make the telecast.
Well, Dan, a lot of times in the summertime, some of our more established players and well-known players like to take a little time off from the rigors of the tour. This gives an opportunity for some of the very talented, lesser-known names to try and make a name for themselves. 2 examples of that are Bryan Alpert making his first appearance on our ESPN telecast, and Ray Valdovino, even though he's 30 years old, he's not a household name, but he's our leader, and it's his first time on television of any kind.
Okay, on the other side of the ledger now, Michael, we do have 2 seasoned players, and Dave Husted with 6 titles, and also Ernie Schlegel.
Well, Dave won here 2 years ago, and Ernie Schlegel is our current president. He's been a member of the PBA for 20 years. He has a little added pressure, Den, because every PBA president in past memory has won a tournament while he's been in office. Ernie has yet to win a tournament, and this is his 2nd year of office. It's only a 2-year term, Den, so time is running out on Ernie Schlegel.
Lanes 33 and 34 here in Dublin, California. An excellent scoring pair, a beautiful surface, and the players, the 5 of them, averaged almost 230 this week. Your thoughts about high scores tonight?
Well, the scores have not been high all week long. They've been moderate all week long. This has been a pretty good scoring pair. We've got a couple players on the telecast that hook the ball a little bit. We've got 3 players that go very straight. I'm looking for scores in the 210 to 220 range.
All right. 160 players started this event, and 1 of them this evening, 1 out of 5, will walk away with $20,000. Coming up next on ESPN, the opening match between Scott Devers and Dave Husted.
Budweiser and Bud Light join with USA Today to give baseball fans something new. Now, for the first time, you can also pick up an official All-Star fan ballot, free wherever you pick up Bud or Bud Light. Vote for your favorite Major League players. Then, test your talent for baseball trivia and win valuable prizes.
Okay, maybe not.
You like this guy at third? How about this?
No.
Come on. Do you, What National League catcher played 11 consecutive All-Stars?
Says here it was me.
Johnny Bench! Hey, how you doing?
Answers are in USA Today every day. So the fans everywhere, settle back with a cold Bud or Bud Light. Vote for the players you want to see in the All-Star game and be part of a baseball tradition.
Delivery. Swinging a shot into right center field may not be caught.
It's time to visit one of the world's great garden spots. The Lawn and Garden Department at your local True Value hardware store. Where this Homelight dual-line gas trimmer is just $79.88. It handles big jobs and goes anywhere. And Green Thumb cordless electric grass shears are just $24.88 with a recharger. Then get this Black & Decker electric hedge trimmer. It cuts in either direction, and it's just $36.99. At participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
After years of research, the high-tech laboratories of Columbia 300 have created the most advanced urethane bowling ball ever made. The 100% urethane Columbia 300 U-Dot. The extraordinary U-Dot solves the inherent problems of lope and wobble. Its devastating pin power and superior lane control characteristics are unequaled. If you bowl to win, the Columbia 300 U-Dot is the ultimate weapon. It's like no ball ever made before. Sold only in lanes and pro shops.
Welcome back, everyone, to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl in Dublin, California. Dave Husted and Scott Devers in the opening game of the $130,000 Kessler Open. Husted starts on the left-hand lane.
And what a way to start. Blow that 5 right into the 4-7.
Well, I think David intimated to us just before the telecast this evening that if his carry was good tonight, he might shoot some big scores. He appears to be pretty well lined up.
well on that lane anyway.
Yeah.
Scott Devers was having trouble in practice getting the ball to finish hard enough to carry. The lanes are tight on the left side. Well, when you hit him flush, what's the difference, huh?
Well, obviously, he's had time to make a few adjustments. You know, he just is a marvelously accurate player and a real fine touch player.
Well, we discovered that last summer, Denny, when we sat behind him and watched him a lot. Just how many shots he threw solid into the 1-2 pocket. And he throws a high percentage of shots solid.
And he's been an excellent competitor on national television. A very fine record.
For the double. Well, he got the 5 out, but the 10 wouldn't cooperate. He left a few 5-10s in practice.
Been kind of a tough year for him. Basically, $21,390 coming in, and that may sound like a pretty good year, but when you consider the fact he won more than $94,000 last year, he's behind schedule.
He won a lot of that in the summertime. He got hot last summer and bowled very well, made a couple telecasts, one in Tucson and one later in Rochester.
And almost won in Seattle, finished second there to Parker Bone III. So it's a spare up in the second for Devers, and now Husted goes back to work on the right-hand lane. Dave Husted, 28 years of age. Already been a PBA member 10 years.
I can remember when he first came out.
I think his first tournament was the PBA National Championship.
I asked him that. He said it was his third.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
And just a little tight in the 4-9. Last night he was bowling Randy Peterson in the position round, and Randy Peterson around the 7th or 8th frame left the 4-9. Made it.
Yep.
See if David can do the same thing. He wants to hit the 4-pin on the left and slide it into the 9, aiming at about 1/8 of an inch from 60 feet away. Too much. Hit the 4-pin too full.
You know, in speaking with Dave earlier today, he said, Denny, I'm probably bowling as well now as I have at any time in my career, with the exception of one thing. I seem to make one bad shot a game, and it varies. Sometimes I get a little soft with it. Sometimes I might throw it a little too hard. He said, other than that, I've been bowling great, but that one shot seems to create all sorts of problems, and I don't know if that was it or not in the second, but he was behind.
4-9, though, is generally a pretty good shot. It's just a bad break, too much power on the bowling ball. See that power knock out that weak 10 right there.
So Husted strikes again on lane 33, but Devers now leads by 12. Scott Devers with a match play record this week of 15-9.
Scott was having a lot of trouble with his back earlier this winter, and he got that problem resolved. Nice solid again in that 1-2 pocket. When you talk to Scott, he's just a very aware young man. He seems very mature for his age, and it's just a pleasure to be around him.
He has been bowling very well as of late, has cashed in 8 out of his last 10 tournaments. So maybe he's a summer and fall tour bowler, too. A lot of guys have done it through the years.
I know. I used to bowl better in the summertime.
Because you got a chance to work on your golf game probably in the meantime. Forced you to bowl better. He likes it, and he trips the 6. So Devers comes up with a big double in the 3rd and the 4th and gives himself a bit of an advantage. 22 pins now. Devers leads over Husted. So when Husted returns, he's going to have to double to tighten things up a little bit. We'll be right back.
Fashion colors from Black Beauty to Sweetheart Red.
Colors, 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 putting on the Ritz.
See all the colors of Ritz designer fans at A-to-Z Vacuum and Sealing Fan Outlet.
Hot.
It's the summer of '88 on HBO and Cinemax. It's HBO for the biggest and the hottest hits, the funniest and the brightest stars, plus the action of championship sports. It's Cinemax for more movies and more choice, from Hollywood's best to timeless classics. You'll find them all on Cinemax. Plus the quality and variety only cable TV delivers. Bring home the summer of '88 with cable, HBO, and Cinemax.
The former U.S. Open champion, Dave Husted, finds himself trailing by 22, but he can improve the cause with a strike here.
Cut it to 10, or 12, rather. You know, we were reading an interesting stat earlier that from the 5th position that David was 0-7 in his career, but from the 4th position, he was 11-4.
4-9 the last time. Gives this one a little more room. How about the wall shot? Not quite.
Just a bad break. The pins just didn't fall right, leaving that 8-pin. The adjustment for the 490 probably moved to half a board or so on the approach, maybe 3/4 of a board. The ball wouldn't make it up.
Thus far this year, David, with better than $65,000 in prize money, that ranks him in the top 10.
He's made the top 24 more than any other bowler so far this year. This is his 12th time.
He had a chance to bowl very well here in '86, and he won, and I asked him about thinking about that. Would it help him here this evening?
Well, the slate's been kind of wiped clean. I haven't won for 2 years. The condition was a little different when I won here in '86, so I'm not going to really try to think about that a whole lot. I'm just going to try to think about tonight and do my job the best I can.
And he's back to work on the left-hand lane, and he's perfect, 3 out of 3.
Well, he's wired on that left lane, on lane 33. But if he doesn't solve 34, Scott's liable to run off and hide.
Scott Devers this week with games of 248 and 235 on the championship pair. That works out to a nifty average of 241.5.
Scott said that the right lane hooked just a little bit earlier for him than the left lane. Oh, if he's carrying those, look out. I'm telling you, in practice, he left a 5.6, a 5.10, and we're going to see a replay here because we're going to take a look at Scott's delivery right here from behind. Look at the swing. Comes back, loops around. Watch the follow-through, though. See, right from here, he's like all other bowlers. And look at the follow-through. Comes straight behind his head. Very unusual. Cut a little short. He hit himself right in the eye.
Leads by 32 and wants to extend it. He's down, and he gets a break that the 8-pin drops because it might have been the 6/8, the reverse of the 4-9.
Had every ball close to the 1-2 pocket right around there, in there, as he always does. Very good spare shooter.
His career stats on television, 4 wins, 3 losses with an average of better than 218. So he's performed well in the championship round. 2 titles to his credit. First victory in the Miller Lite Challenge in Tucson, and you and I will be heading down to Tucson in a couple of weeks.
And we saw him finish out that match in Tucson against Mark McDowell. He struck out in the 10th frame to wrap that up.
So now the pressure back on the shoulders of Dave Husted, and he needs a double desperately.
It's not a must strike yet, but it's sure getting in that category. Has to hurry, and it did. Boy, wasn't that a pretty shot? He's so graceful. Watch the backswing. Pretty high, low, slightly over the head. Now watch the release to the side of the ball, the follow-through straight toward the target. Perfect. All 10 pins in the pit. He needs to do it one more time now. See how he breaks that wrist to start with. Will it carry? No. Left the 10-pin.
You seem to doubt that. Did he get a little wide?
Just didn't look like he got the lift in the fingers that he had the shot before. You know, a bowler can feel that as soon as he lets it go, and he'll be looking at that 10-pin. I used to have that feeling so many times. You know, you're just hoping that you get some love tap or break.
Well, it's amazing how the professionals get so dialed in with feel and touch that the minute they let the ball go, they know what the chances are, good or bad, for carrying. And I think David, the minute he let that one go, knew that the 10-pin might stand. So he trails by 22. And when we come back, we'll see if Scott Devers can really apply the clamps to Dave Husted.
You know what really burns me up? My feet. Athlete's foot kept flaring up. I get rid of it for a while, but it just flare up again. Finally went to the doctor. He told me to get Tenactin. It's what doctors and pharmacists recommend most. Tenactin even cures recurring athlete's foot. Use it regularly like they tell you. It'll keep the fly from coming back.
Fast-acting Tenactin puts athlete's foot out for good.
Pronto,
the fastest growing name in auto parts today. Pronto, featuring quality auto parts at lower prices.
Speed. For some, it's life. Last year, the Motorcraft team won 4 world championships with the same Motorcraft parts you can buy for your car. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
When you need to know about auto parts, ask the pros at Pronto.
This is where champions begin.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mike Tyson, Terrence Ali, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Superstars who forge steel nerves and iron punches on Budweiser's top-ranked boxing. Top contenders battle for the North American Super Welterweight title. Lupe Aquino faces the undefeated Royan Hammond Friday night live on ESPN.
And a most gracious proprietor here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. Of course, Earl himself, and looks fit as a fiddle. Lost 22 pounds in preparation for beginning the PBA Seniors Tour, and has been practicing diligently. So
cashed in that event.
That's right. Finished 27th. Shot 750, I think, the last 3 games, just to miss the final. So back to live action. Scott Devers in the 7th.
2-4-7-8. And a lot of times that happens, coming back out of a break. Concentration seems to lapse just a little bit. The speed changes. In that instance, it just appeared that his concentration waned. Watch the ball going high, right through the heart of the pins here. Difficult spare. 2-4-7-8. The problem here is you've got to hit that 2-pin flush enough to get the 8. And if you hit a 2 flush, you chop it. So you didn't get it up enough to get that 8-pin, and boy, the door, we've got a very tight match here, 7-pin match.
Of course, with his style of play, not able to hook the ball as much maybe as some of the other players, that would be a very difficult spare for him to convert.
Especially trying to hook the ball at the back end. It's just not in his repertoire, and you're going to watch the ball here deflect off the 2-pin, take the 4 straight back off the 8, and there you leave it. He's worried about it right now. He's looking at it. Says, yeah, that's about what I figured.
So instead of leading by 22, now he leads by only 7.
And Denny, when you're sitting on the bench, that just pumps you right up. If you're his opponent and you see that open, here's my opportunity, David is saying.
And it seems like in most cases in the championship, or in a lot of cases in match play itself during the tournament proper, you're always given that one opportunity to maybe take the edge away from your opponent and beat him. And if you're going to be successful out here, you have to take advantage.
That's what match play is all about, in any level. Will it carry? Oh! Boy, I thought that pin was going to get it, but it didn't. Leaves that 7-pin on that light hit. Speed is critical on lane 34 for David. If he throws it just the slightest bit hard, it doesn't make it up the hill. Watch the 1-pin hit the 2 and a bunch of bounce around there, and it hit the 7, but it wouldn't knock it over.
7-pin with a bit of a wiggle, but that was about it. Just a tantalizing 7-pin. Husted spares up, now trails by 8, and if he needed a strike here in the 9th to set things up, well, this is the paramount shot for him.
Still potential 216, but he's got to have this one in the 9th to set up the 10th, and this has been his good lane the whole time. He's got 3 strikes on this lane already.
Devers working on a strike in the 8th. He has a possible 234.
David takes very little time. Good loft. There's the result.
Well, the old dice-o-matic shot there. 5-pin dancing to the left, taking out the 7. And
had a messenger coming back in case the 10 was up there.
The old double team that time. Devers could really justify his case right now with a double here in the 9th, though.
Well, it's just going to be the bowler who performs in the 9th and 10th that's going to win this opening match. That 6-pin. Well, all Houston is saying right now is he can't shut me out. As soon as he left that, the best he can get, Devers that is 214. Houston can get 216, so should be a relatively easy spare for Scott.
I think the one thing I like best about Devers' game is his head. Steady head all the way to the line, keeps it right. See that?
Yep.
That's nice. All right, spare up. Now it's going to come down basically to the 10th frame. Who will perform the best? And Of course, the winner will advance on to game number 2 and take on a relative newcomer, Bryan Alpert, out of Las Vegas, Nevada.
We still have a potential tie, Dan. We could have a tie.
Haven't had one of those yet. And in the event that we would,
there's our scoreboard. You see the difference, 8 pins. Houston's got that big strike, though, in the 9th frame. So important.
2-frame roll-off.
If we had a tie,
right.
Yes. It'd be the same as the 9th and 10th frame of a regulation game. See how he spreads that index finger, holds it on the side of the ball right there. Look at the eyes. Uh-oh. Boy, it just got away from him entirely that time.
Scott turns around right now. You can see the look on his face. Not what he wanted.
Just hard to tell what exactly went wrong here. He just gave the ball a board or 2 boards too much room and didn't have that swing area out there. Leaves the 1-3-6. Must make this spare. No problem. It's going to boil down to whether David Husted can strike. Count is relatively unimportant right at this point, although it is a 5-pin difference.
Best Devers could post now would be 201. Trot never had a chance that first one of the 10th.
They say trust is a must, but that was a little bit too much.
Yep.
That's right up at him.
So he trips off the 10, 201 the score for Scott Devers, but now all it comes down to is can Dave Husted throw 1 strike for the opening match victory, and he begins so by re-racking on the right-hand lane. Is he buying time, Mike, or did he just not like the rack?
I think he's buying time. He needed a double in the 10th frame last night of the position round to force Randy Peterson to double, and he got that double. David is a very good player in the clutch. You'll notice that on this shot, though, he will not take any more time than he normally does. He'll go through his normal pattern once he steps up on the approach. Has to hurry.
And good. Well, the big shot for Husted, who's had a history of bowling very well in Dublin, California, and now he's going to check with Harry Golden to find out what he needs, but the strike was really the clincher.
Well, basically, he needs 6 pins and a spare, but he wants to say, hey, just get it up there, get 8 or 9, and I'm in good shape right now.
So Husted, he can stay behind the line and get at least 6.
Well, he'd have to make the spare if he did that.
Yeah.
That's right up at him. Boy, that ball held all the way, didn't it?
A little more speed, a little more aggressive shot, but it was a little easier at that stage, and now with another one would shoot 216. A sly smile from Scott Devers, who realized that fate was in his hands, and he really didn't take advantage of the shot, the opening shot in the 10th frame. And Dave Husted finally wins a game from the number 5 position.
He's 1-7 now, huh?
There's the handshake, and so Husted advances on. Into game number 2, Scott Devers will head on to Seattle with a nice check worth $4,500. And he finished second there last week, so it could be another big week for him as well. As Husted cools off a little bit, coming up, though. There's more action here from Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl.
Set of the week is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol. For most common stomach discomforts, the one that coats is the only one you need. Greg Norman has been a popular favorite in golf's major tournaments in past years, and this year was no different, entering the 88th U.S. Open. Following Thursday's first round, Norman was a few shots off the lead and still in contention. But on the 9th hole in Friday's second round, Norman's iron struck a hidden rock, jamming his wrist and forcing him to withdraw from the tournament. Our Pepto-Bismol upset of the week.
Mom, where's my other red sock?
You okay? Oh, it's just a little stomach thing.
Mom!
I'm late.
I have to wear red socks or I'll look like a nerd.
I knew it. You're sick.
I forgot how bad diarrhea feels.
Don't worry. All you need is this.
Here it comes. The soothing relief of Pepto-Bismol. The one that coats is the only one you need.
Feeling better?
A-okay.
Great. Now, if I could only find Susie's red sock.
Did you look in the laundry?
Opening victory for Dave Husted over Scott Devers, 216 to 201. And so Husted going to loosen up and get ready to bowl game number 2. But before we get to that, let's take a look at what happened this week at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl.
Well, 160 entries. We see that the right-handers averaged about 6 pins more than the left-handers. Only needed 203 to cash 53rd place. Only 208 for 24th place to make the finals in our tournament, the match play finals. Some of our other finishers in the tournament, the bowlers that finished 6th through 24th. And if we're going to get it up here so we can see it. There they are.
Ah, there we go.
Jack Jurek just missed. Got $4,000. And we said Randy Peterson needed 2 hits in the 10th and didn't get them. Dave Arnold, another straight shooter right up there. Mike Edwards from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Greg Harrington, a new voice. Jim Bernashaw bowling well again. Joe Canigliaro from Queens, New York. Pete McCordick still bowling well. Ryan Schaefer, Rookie of the Year, and Walter Ray Williams. And we see another left-hander, Hugh Miller, Mark Williams, Tournament of Champions winner, Sam Macaron, steady pro, Roger Copland from local area here, Joe Firpo, David Russell, Troy Kendrick, another straight shooter, Rowdy Morrow, and 24th went to John O'Drabanek.
Well, we have a number of different types of releases with the players on the telecast this evening, and tonight's Mike Durbin's average builder concerns the hand release and how it affects the bowling ball, and that's coming up next.
Have you ever been watching a bowling telecast and heard the announcers refer to the bowlers as straight shooters or crankers or tweeners, and you wondered what in the world those terms meant? Well, those terms refer to the way the bowler throws the bowling ball. A straight shooter is obviously one who throws the ball very straight. And a cranker is one who gets the great big hook. And a tweener is somewhere in between. And the way the bowlers wind up in these different categories is determined mainly by their hand release. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is the hand release. In the opening match, you saw 2 different extremes of hand releases. Scott Devers is obviously a straight shooter from the left side. Well, David Husted probably hooks the ball more than anyone on our telecast tonight, but I really wouldn't classify him as a cranker. I think he's somewhere in between. Let's look at the way David throws the ball first. When David sets up, he has his fingers together and his wrist slightly broken as he starts and gets himself comfortable. He takes 5 steps, and as he goes into his approach, he pushes the ball out. The wrist is still broken, but as it comes back and gets into the backswing, it straightens out. And now it remains straight all the way through the downswing. And as he goes to let go of that ball, the wrist is very straight. His thumb comes out of the ball. He turns the fingers counterclockwise to get to the side of the ball. He then lifts up, and the ball goes out on the lane. The result is there's a certain skid, and the ball goes right to left into the 1-3 pocket. Scott Devers, on the other hand, sets up very similar to David Husted, only he spreads his index finger, but the wrist is still broken. The difference is that when Scott goes into his push away in his swing, the wrist stays broken all the way through the swing, even to the point of release. Now, anyone who lets go of the ball with the broken wrist at the point of release can't lift the bowling ball as hard as someone who has the wrist straight. Scott makes up for this lack of power with tremendous accuracy, good roll, and a lot of heart. And then our next game, you're going to see a newcomer to our ESPN telecast. His name is Bryan Alpert from Las Vegas, Nevada. Just a few weeks ago, Bryan felt that he was getting too much forward roll and that his ball was rolling out. And he worked on trying to get more side rotation on the bowling ball. And the way he did that was very similar to the way Husted lets go of the bowling ball. He has his hand right behind the ball with his fingers basically at 6 o'clock. And as he goes to let go of the ball, his fingers are at 6, the thumb comes out first, which is necessary in all of these hand releases, and then the fingers rotate counterclockwise to 3 o'clock. This gives the side rotation that Bryan was looking for, and the result is he's on our telecast tonight. In our final 2 matches for our final 2 bowlers, they really represent 2 different generations in bowling. Ernie Schlegel has been around for almost 20 years and is the current president of the PBA, while Ray Valdovino is a newcomer to our ESPN telecast. In fact, this is his first time on national television anywhere. Yet both of these bowlers throw the ball very similar. They're what we would call straight shooters. And the way they throw the ball is they get their hand and the fingers right behind the bowling ball. It's all the way through the swing, the backswing. The point of release, the thumb again comes out first, and they basically lift straight up through the back of the bowling ball. What this causes is a lot of forward roll as the ball goes down the lane. The place that you want to use this is when you can play what we call outside, near that first arrow or that 6th, 7th, 8th, 4th. That's where you're going to see both Ray and Ernie playing tonight. Now, the last shot I want to talk about is the cranker shot. We really don't have a cranker on our telecast tonight, but I'll try and demonstrate it to you anyway. Crankers really, a lot of them, don't turn the ball that much. Many of them get their hand right behind the ball like a straight shooter, but as they let go of the ball, the thumb comes way out first, and the wrist rolls up right through that ball. You know, in over 20 years on the PBA Tour, I was never able to develop that shot, which may be one reason why I'm working tonight and not bowling. We'll see you again next week when we'll have another Average Builder.
And coming up next, it's Dave Husted, red-hot Dave Husted, against Bryan Alpert out of Las Vegas, Nevada. First appearance for Alpert, and he'll have his hands full. Stay tuned.
I'm in league with America, thanks to the ABC.
As members of the American Bowling Congress, these men receive valuable benefits. In sanctioned leagues, they know their games count, and standard rules help the fun along. Awards give them proper recognition. They get their shot at national competition, and they're helping our country's Team USA. When these members go bowling, they know being organized is more fun.
Get in league with America, join the ABC.
Buying a house is the biggest investment you'll make. That's why you need to protect it the best way possible. Cabot Stains. These days, with what it costs to buy a house, we're a drop in the bucket.
Dave Husted has a history of climbing the ladder. Once he makes the championship finals, he opens with a 216-201 victory over Scott Devers, and now next in line is Bryan Alpert.
He did that back when he won his first title, when he won the U.S. Open in Houston. Didn't get his thumb out of the ball clean that time. Thumb and fingers came out basically at the same time, and the ball slid, left the bucket, caused, I think, simply because he didn't take any practice shots in between. Difficult spare. He's shooting it basically, I think, off his strike line from where he's standing. He's going to try and throw pretty hard and straight at this spare. And got a big break. Oh, my goodness. Was that the 2-pin that went over the wall and came back and got the 8? Sure enough was, wasn't it?
Yeah, you don't diagram it that way, but Husted with a very big break here to open up the match.
Watch it. It goes to the left. Watch the 2-pin. The 2-pin goes to the side, comes back off the wall, and says, fall down, 8-pin.
Very good opening shot for Alpert. Leaves the soft 10, but I imagine he's going to breathe a sigh of relief, having at least hit the lane with that first shot.
But he'll breathe a little easier if he makes a spare.
Yeah, I understand. I asked him if he was nervous, and he said, no, Denny, I feel fine, and I'm relaxed. He said, but I know the minute the lights go on, I'm going to be a little nervous then. I said, well, if you weren't, there'd be something wrong with you. Good opening spare for Alpert, who basically was nowhere through 16 games or 15 games of qualifying, shot back-to-back 279 games and vaulted himself into the finals.
I watched him all the time in practice, and we see his face right there. I never saw him smile once. He is really intense and really into this match.
And there you see, he had a pretty good game with Husted earlier this week, so probably figures he could beat him again.
A little discouragement already as he leaves the second 10. He felt like he threw that ball very well. Didn't knock out that weak 10.
Only 23 years of age, and currently this year he's made a little less than $5,000, so regardless of what happens here tonight, he's going to double his earnings.
Has the spare.
He really hung in there all week long, too, because he was kind of up and down on the old ladder, but did what he had to do to get here.
And came through in that final game, the position round, shot 259 that game to vault himself from 4th up to 3rd.
That's got to tell you something about a player's heart, whatever they do in that position round game. Trying to get Back into stroke, and this one on the right-hand lane, and that was Crush City.
A little tighter line that time. When I say tighter line, I mean he went just a little bit more direct at the 1-3 pocket and didn't circle the ball away from the pocket as much.
In match play this week, Dave Husted, 12 wins, 12 losses. I think the key for him basically was the 279 and the second to last game that put him in a position to at least bowl Randy Peterson to make the telecast.
Looking for the double and a bit of an advantage. That one high and through the nose, and a break for Husted.
And again, he did not clear the thumb clean. He's just suddenly fighting his hand release.
Now, let me ask you, why, in essence, do you hang up in the thumb?
It could be a number of reasons. It used to be what I'd hang up is because I was squeezing so tight. I didn't want to let go,
Nerves?
It can be nerves. It can be that you're not comfortable in the lane, so you're trying to fit the ball. Or it could be that the thumb simply swelled in between the games.
Right. It has a tendency to go up and down as far as the size of it is concerned. So Alpert now trailing by 1, steps up in the third.
I think all professional bowlers fight that the ball is either they're having a little loose and they take a piece of tape out, or they put a piece of tape in, then they hang and they go back and forth, trying to get that feel just right. Alpert for his first strike. And the head pin knocked out the 10.
And he'll remember that first strike for many years to come.
Yeah. Watch the head pin on this shot, Dan. It's very interesting. The head pin will go over to the sideboard and come back and get that 10. There it is. Here it comes. Never saw that years ago. Never.
I'll tell you what, that label's turning over, isn't it?
Trying for his first double ever. Knocked out that 10 pin then.
So Alpert doubles up and puts the pressure back on the veteran Husted. And right now, Bryan Alpert leads by 9, and we'll see what happens. He looks a little relaxed to me, and I'm sure he's feeling a little bit better at this point.
Hey, everybody! Someone's gonna take us home today. Best behavior. But I'm always on my best behavior.
I'll tell you, I'll take anyone but a science teacher. Ooh, they don't give me no respect.
Pet lovers like me because I'm so cute.
This store's not big enough for the twos of us, mate.
Listen, darling, no human alive can resist my good looks.
We have a pet for every personality.
How's my hair, darling?
See the Battle of Champions, Monday, June 27th. Lightning fast, undefeated Michael Spinks. Ring Magazine's heavyweight king takes on WBA, WBC, IBF heavyweight champion Iron Mike Tyson. It's Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks for the undisputed heavyweight crown, Monday, June 27th.
In the fight of his life, Mike Tyson tries to become a boxing legend. ESPN looks back at boxing's greatest bouts on the night of the Tyson Spinks Championship, Monday night on ESPN.
And that will be a fight. Tyson and Spinks, a great special on ESPN, hosted by Eric Clemens and also Jimmy Robertson. Who do you like, Tyson or Spinks?
Oh, I like Tyson, but I would love to be able to go watch the fight, but I'll be working, so I won't be able to.
I'll watch it for you. Husted down by 9. Early stages, match number 2, trying to improve his impression this week, and he does.
Now, it must be just his being comfortable on the lane, because that was a perfect release. His thumb came out, he hit the fingers hard. He didn't make any changes where he put tape in or took it out in the break. So I don't think his thumb is swelled. I think it's just a matter of being comfortable and executing the shot he knows how to execute here on this left lane. Has to hurry. And it did. Boy, that's pretty.
Well, he goes from 9 down to +1, so he's taken the lead and now working on a double. Bryan Alpert.
And it's so interesting, because the youngster comes out, gets his first double, is all hyped up, and the veteran just calmly, coolly, bang, bang. All right, kid, let's see what you can do now.
Mm-hmm. Ball is in the other court.
It's very meticulous.
Husted switching chairs, and Alpert with an excellent shot. I'd have to say that's probably the best that he's thrown here in his first game.
Are you watching all the deep breaths this kid's taking? It's just, I'd like to have a monitor on his heart rate right now.
Yeah, but he's also realizing he needs to calm down. He needs to relax, slow things down a little bit, because it's very easy to get quick up there.
He's responding very well. It's just his demeanor is very interesting.
Another good shot on the left-hand lane, and it's 4 consecutive strikes for Bryan Alpert.
As he lets it go, follow-through went way left. But what does that mean? Because watch that 6-pin knock the 10 out.
Leaving us for a moment, leaving the picture that is. Husted back on the right-hand lane. It's been a good one for him, but the soft 10 stands, and so
just a hair more speed. He threw that ball just a hair harder than he had the other two, and left the weak 10 as a result.
Well, he won his opening match by doubling in the 10th. I wonder if he'll get a chance to do that here in game number 2.
No trouble with the spare. David's a veteran. He knows that it's not over in the 6th frame. He stared at 4-baggers before.
Had a terrific year back in 1982 when he won $102,865. Now, normally that would be enough to be a leading money winner, but guess who finished in front of him?
Yeah, our host right here, because I finished 3rd that year.
No kidding. Earl Anthony, number 1, Husted, number 2, and Durbin, number 3. Still have any of that money, Mike?
No, it's all gone.
Husted back to work, this time on the left-hand lane. Needs a strike, tickles the 5. That fell. The 7-pin thought about it, but it stands, and I have a feeling 9 spare is not enough to keep pace with Mr. Alpert.
And interesting that light hit like that is such a high percentage hit, Den, and we haven't seen any of them carry yet.
So the spare up for Husted, who threw 8 strikes in the opening game, but he's had only 3 strikes here in game number 2. He's going to have to pick up the pace because Bryan Alpert leads by 21, and Alpert's thinking only one thing: beat Husted and then try Mr. Schlegel on for size.
Round of lights here?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
Since you don't buy a refrigerator every day.
I should have bought a Frigidaire! I finally got a Frigidaire.
Ask for the one that lasts. Lasts.
I should have bought a Frigidaire. I finally got a Frigidaire.
For the Frigidaire dealer nearest you, call 1-800-451-7007.
I'll take the Frigidaire. Now.
Frigidaire, here today, here tomorrow.
If I don't get a good start in the morning, I might feel peaked. I hate that.
Wheaties, 100% whole wheat, naturally low in sugar. That's champion nutrition.
What the big boys eat.
Alpert leads by 21, game number 2. Just to update you, Dave Husted defeated Scott Devers in the opening game 216-201. And now Bryan Alpert leads by 21 pins here as he stands up in the 7th, and he is working on a 4-bagger.
He has the opportunity to almost put Husted away here if he can get a couple more strikes. See how he responds coming out of the break.
Are enjoying his expertise thus far here in game number 2. They appear to be behind him.
It always seems that they root for the underdog, you know.
And there are his mother and also his grandfather, Mother Beverly, and his grandfather, Bernard King, on hand here. They flew in from Las Vegas, watched the action, and I think they're enjoying it thus far.
She looks as nervous as he does.
I think she is.
31 ahead, can raise it to 41 with one more. carry that light hit, and his mother says, I like that.
The youngster from Las Vegas basically breaking the bank at this point, Mike.
Watch the light hit. Watch the head pin. Go to the wall, clean out the 4, 5, 7. And the mother says, yes.
There we go, back to the strike. Well, the best possible score for Dave Husted, if he would take this one off the sheet, would be 238.
He's 41 down. He is still not out of the match, but he has to strike here in the 9th frame, and David knows that. I look for this to be a very professional shot and right in the 1-3 pocket. I think he'll keep himself alive with one more here. Bad break. 4-pin just wouldn't go, but he put it right there.
Alpert calculating his chances right now, and if he would go off the sheet in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, he would shoot 279. That's a number he's been familiar with this week.
Been a lucky number for him, hasn't it?
It's lucky for most players if you shoot 279. Well, Husted spares up, but he's simply running out of room.
He's out of room.
218, the best possible score that Husted would post. It would appear that he was done for the week here, but stranger things have happened in the championship round. Alpert has yet to miss the pocket, though. Left a couple of 10 pins in the first and the second, and since that time, it's been all X's.
Alpert would have to open twice with a horrible count for Houston to have any chance. And you don't open by throwing it there, I'll tell you.
Well, he'll relax a little bit now. The pressure of the string is off. Well, he appears to have the right equipment going right now, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Even if he misses the spare, he has the game virtually won. He'd only need 3 pins in the 10th frame, even if he missed the spare. If he makes it, the game is history. Has it dead center. Very professional game for the young man.
You know, it's so often you find, Mike, that in some cases, when a player is making his first appearance ever, they bowl a great first game. They're just immune to what's happening around them. And there you see Dave going to collect $5,500, and I'm sure wife Michelle and son Corey are appreciative of that effort.
And so was David.
Yep. Oh, yeah, he had a nice week.
But when you go 2 years without winning, and you're a veteran like he is,
yep,
that's what you're thinking about, winning.
Well, the summer tour, and especially the summer tour on ESPN, has been very good to Dave Husted, and I'm venturing that we'll see him somewhere else this summer. The winner, Bryan Alpert. Game
ball,
number 2.
Every ball in the pocket, like 10 pin, 10 pin, 10 pin, and now another 10. 4 10 pins, 6 strikes. He says, I'll bowl every game like that.
Those are the kind of games you dream about, just throwing every shot in the pocket, putting together a nice string, putting some pressure on your opponent from the get-go, and that's basically what he did.
Well, I think that you hit a point, though, that it'd be very interesting to see how he comes out and bowls this second game here. He's going against another veteran, one that's even been around longer than Houston, and let's see if there's a letdown, or whether he can maintain that intensity and say, hey, that's just 1 out of the way, got 2 more to go.
Well, especially when Ernie Schlegel starts to growl at him a little bit. That'll be interesting.
Ernie will dazzle him with his glasses.
Well, terrific opening effort for 23-year-old Bryan Alpert of Las Vegas, Nevada, 247. And a proud mother there. Husted will simply finish out the match. And David now really off to an excellent year here in 88 with the earnings added there over $70,000 thus far with plenty of bowling left.
He says, yeah, I'm just going to grind out that $100,000 every year and take it to the bank and put the shoes on the kid.
Well, he'll be up next week in Seattle, Washington for the Seattle Open.
And notice how they carry when it's out of the wood. That out of the wood shot, I was always good at striking on those, Dan.
Yeah, that arm swing loosens up a little bit. Skyway Park Bowl next week?
Skyway Park Bowl. You know, we heard this bathroom door over here creak going as it was shutting in there. That was the way my arm swing was when it was tight, you know, when the game was tight.
Well, it never fails. Strikeout for Husted, so it's 247 to 218, and Alpert will advance into the semifinal game against Ernie Schlegel. And stay tuned. That'll be very interesting because Mr. Schlegel, always a talented player, an exciting performer. And Earl Anthony has seen lots of champions through the years, and he may be the best of all time. Stay tuned.
Satin finish has the look that gets the looks. You can see why it's worth more.
How can you improve something this great, like Thompson's water seal? Well, Thompson's could apply itself, or keep any rain from hitting your house. Instead, we've made it waterproof better. Introducing new and improved Thompson's Water Seal. 50% more active ingredients now protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage with a lot more waterproofing power. So if you thought Thompson's couldn't be improved, we proved it could be. Thompson's, the first name in lasting protection.
2 games have now been completed in the $130,000 Kessler Open. And the opening game, Dave Husted wins 216-201 over Scott Devers. There you see the tournament leader warming up, and he'll be coming out in a couple of minutes. Game number 2, Bryan Alpert, 247 to David Husted's 218. So he wins game number 2. And coming up now, a special look at a special champion, Earl Anthony. Earl Anthony has won 41 PBA championships in his 14-year career. In 1985, he was inducted into the ABC Hall of Fame. Voted Bowler of the Year 6 times, Anthony joined the Seniors Tour last week in Las Vegas.
I quit the regular tour about, I guess it's been about 5 years, 1983. I got tired of all the traveling, and it was really to the point where I didn't enjoy bowling anymore. Those guys are bowling for a living. There's a lot of pressure involved. Whereas now the senior tour, I'm a rookie. I just turned 50. I'm eligible to bowl with the guys that you might say are my contemporary players. Guys like Dick Weber, Carmen Salvino, Tita Semez. The guys I used to have a lot of fun with, enjoyed bowling with on the regular tour.
Before leaving the regular tour, he made bowling history by becoming the first player to surpass the $1 million mark.
I had set a goal, and when you set goals, I always try to set goals that were a little bit higher than what I thought I could achieve, and that was one of my ways of pumping myself up a little bit. And I wanted to win the national championship in 1982, and at the same time go over the $1 million mark in career earnings, become the first bowler to do that. And if I won that tournament, I could do it, and it worked out well for me. I won the tournament and became the first bowler to earn $1 million throwing a bowling ball.
In 1984, Earl Anthony entered only one tournament, the ABC Masters in Reno, Nevada. He became the comeback kid and showed his greatness by winning the tournament.
And so was Anthony. 191. Schleicher, 175. The embrace of these two great competitors. And they're on their feet in Reno. Oh, maybe the greatest champion of them all in this most wonderful of sports. Earl Anthony. What a comeback. What a victory.
Earl talks about the difference in his game over the years.
Of all the years I bowled on the tour, on the regular tour, I think 14 years, my average for those years was somewhere between 215 and 216 for all those games in competition. I would say right now, if I were to go out and bowl on a professional lane condition, I would probably average around 208, 209. So I'd say 8-9 pins difference in per game average. That's quite a bit. That's going from being one of the leading money winners to probably not cashing very often.
Like all top competitors, Earl wanted to leave the game a winner.
I wanted to quit on top for one reason and one thing, and I felt that in 1983, I told my wife just before the tour started that this is going to be my last year, but I want to make it a good one. I want to quit on top, and fortunately for me, it worked out that way.
And And there you see Bernard King, the grandfather of Bryan Alpert, and he has said that he will double the prize money that his grandson wins this evening, even if it's first place of $20,000. What a generous grandpa.
What size painting project you're planning, you can count on True Test paint from True Value hardware stores. For decorator color that fits your home, from country pastels to high-tech brights, trust the spatter-resistant formulas of Easy Care latex paint. A velvety flat finish starts at just $9.98 a gallon, and scrubbable flat enamel and semi-gloss start at only $12.98 a gallon. You'll find True Test paint exclusively at participating True Value hardware stores.
There's a level of performance that separates the good from the great. That's why Carmen Salvino designed the Ebonite Thunderbolt. The exclusive power core increases gyroscopic action for a sharper hook on heavy oil. And the Thunderbolt rolls farther before hooking, so it hits harder for less deflection and more striking power. The difference between good and great is the power of the Thunderbolt.
ESPN heats up your summer in and out of the water with Hot Tuesday nights. Each week, pro surfers take you on a ride you'll never forget. Professional water skiers scorch the surface with treacherous jumps, then hit the beach for a potpourri of red-hot fun. Hot Tuesday nights sizzle each week at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Ooh, it's hot.
Hi, I'm back here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl, and with me is the tournament leader this week, Ray Valdovino. Ray, I know that you bowled this tournament because you live in the area. If you win tonight, though, will your plans change? What are your plans if you win?
Well, if I'm fortunate enough to win tonight, I first have to go back home, talk to my wife, get permission for my job, and I'm thinking about it. If I could gain a full-time sponsor, it's a possibility that I'll keep bowling the rest of the summer and fall.
Well, it looks good right now. You bowled well all week.
Yes, I did. I got a few breaks when I needed them. The other players helped me out, and we'll see what happens. I just want to try to make good shots.
Last night in the position round, you were behind Schlegel going into the game. You were real cool. You threw almost every ball in the pocket. I know you got to be nervous for tonight, though. How do you plan to handle the pressure?
Well, all week I've been telling myself, make good shots, wait on my swing, and just try to stay in the game, not get distracted by anything, and hopefully that's what I'll do tonight. I want to do that.
That's your plan, though, when you're going out there?
Yes, just try to make good shots and wait on my swing.
A couple of years ago, you were in an automobile accident that later on paralyzed you. Tell us about that.
Well, in 1986, I was in an automobile accident, and I was rear-ended at 50 miles an hour. I had whiplash and back problems. A few months later, I had temporary paralysis from a slip. At work, I fell and pinched off a nerve and had temporary paralysis for about a day. And since then, my priorities changed in life a little. I sold my pro shops, and I just decided, well, if I got better, I'd come out here. And last summer, I came out for the summer and fall.
Feel all right, though, now?
I feel pretty good. The neck and back still bothers me a little, but right now I feel okay.
Danny, he says he's ready to go tonight. Ray, good luck in that championship match. Back to you, Danny.
Seems pretty cool to me, but of course anybody that has a journalism major degree obviously knows what they're going to do. He's got a tough customer coming up, though. Ernie Schlegel, he'll take on Bryan Alpert. Alpert with a big game, and we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Planning for your future, don't ignore important details like burial arrangements. Laureldale Cemetery is a full-service cemetery representing all faiths. We cater to all wishes and needs with our tranquil chapel, proud mausoleum, and beautifully kept grounds. Laureldale Cemetery invites you to come out, talk with us, walk our grounds, and be assured that your decision to plan with Laureldale Cemetery is the right one. Call Laureldale Cemetery for details on how you can receive a free space in Hawthorne Gardens.
Let's play ball. Join us on Berks Cable Network 44 as we bring you all the action of Reading Phillies baseball. This season, Berks Cable will be videotaping Sunday Reading Phillies baseball games and cablecasting them Sunday nights on Berks Cable Network 44 at 8 p.m. Catch the Reading Phillies fever as they battle their Eastern League opponents on the road to the pennant. Berks Cable, Reading Phillies, and you. Turn us on.
See what's happening. The Reading Phillies.
Upset of the Week is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol. For most common stomach discomforts, the one that coats is the only one you need. Greg Norman has been a popular favorite in golf's major tournaments in past years, and this year was no different, entering the 88th U.S. Open. Following Thursday's first round, Norman was a few shots off the lead and still in contention. But on the ninth hole in Friday's second round, Norman's iron struck a hidden rock, jamming his wrist and forcing him to withdraw from the tournament. Our Pepto-Bismol upset of the week.
Were you surprised?
Surprised to turn 40?
No. I meant the party. The pizza.
The heartburn.
Mm-hmm. You know what they say about anchovies at your age.
Anchovies don't get to be my age. Do we have any Pepto?
Mm-hmm.
Here comes the soothing relief of Pepto-Bismol. The one that coats is the only one you need.
Feeling better?
Like a kid again.
And no, this is not a college football game in Dublin, California. It's the $130,000 Kessler Open. Oh, they've got the cards out here in the audience. Oh, there are people hiding behind those cards. My great crowds on hand all week long.
Just like halftime at the UCLA games when they had the card tricks there.
Ernie Schlegel jogging, obviously getting ready to throw the lefts and the rights, and he's pumped up. He wants to win here this evening.
And it's interesting, of all the bowlers that had their choices of which lane to finish on, everyone picked to finish on the left lane except Ernie.
Yeah, but why would that be? Of course, he's a very orthodox player and lives that way, and he does things mostly the way everybody else does, doesn't he?
Of course.
Tongue-in-cheek there, but always interesting, Ernie Schlegel, and a very, very fine bowler.
Kind of lost that ball a little bit, and it slides by, leaving the 2-4-5. No trouble with this.
I hesitate to say this, but in your honor, I will. He's the oldest player on the telecast this evening at 45 years of age.
Thank you, Dennis.
Of course, he would be your junior, is that correct?
If I were bowling out there, yes,
right.
he would be.
Okay, just wanted to qualify that. 20 years a member of the PBA. And its current president, I might add.
Has the spare.
Now, as we mentioned before, what happens to Bryan Alpert at this point? Shoots a big first game, beats a quality player, and now he's had 6 or 7 minutes to think about it.
Well, he's just got to go in the same mental approach that he had against Dave Husted. He's bowling another veteran. He's just got to come out there and start throwing strikes. And, hey, those big names fall just like anybody else if you shoot 240 at them. Not a bad shot. Didn't have the crisp fingers in it that he had in some of the other shots, but got it in the 1-3 pocket, left the 7-pin.
Threw 7 strikes in the opening game, and he is yet to miss the pocket.
Key thing about those 7 strikes, though, is that 6 of them were in a row.
Yep. And the only thing he left were 10 pins, up until now.
Switches ball. Stuck a little bit. Makes the spare.
His highest finish ever in the PBA event, 16th last year in the Budweiser Touring Players Championship. Both of these players fairly deliberate.
Right back in there. Well, it's the way he started last game. Only was 10-pin, 10-pin. This time it's 7-pin, 10-pin.
Boy, he's working hard, isn't he?
I told you that adrenaline's pumping, that heart rate's going.
He's really trying to dial himself in here and relax and just make good, crisp shots. And thus far, he's done a pretty good job of it. Regardless of what happens to Bryan from here on out, this is by far and away his biggest PBA paycheck. So a couple of spares to start the match.
Did I hear you say right that his grandfather is going to match whatever he won?
That's what I understand.
So if he won the $20,000, it could be $40,000, huh? That's a nice grandpa. Ernie blows that air out. Better shot. And 4-9 is the result.
Was it my imagination, or did we not see a number of 4-9s and 6-8s all week long here?
Well, we've seen one. This is the second one on the telecast tonight already. Gets this one out on the lane. Watch the 2-pin, third from the left. It's going to go right around the 4, and the ball chops the 5 off the 9. Ernie's a great spare and split shooter. He's going to give this one a full run. Houston couldn't get it over there enough when he left it. Same lane. And
oh, you called that one right on the button, Mr. Durbin. And Schlegel growls a little bit and makes the spare.
Aiming at about 1/8 of an inch at 60 feet. But Ernie he knows it as soon as he lets it go. And clips it. It almost stood up there. Watch him, his reaction.
Looked like a defensive back getting ready to cover somebody to the sidelines. Oh, he's going to try and relax a little bit, because when you make something like that, the adrenaline really shoots right through the ceiling, and time to calm back down again and hit the pocket.
Well, I see why he's picked the finish on the right lane. He's having trouble getting the ball up on that left lane, and the right lane will hook a little bit more for him. 2-4-5 the first time, gets it up a little bit more to get just the 4-pin this time, but he's still not throwing good shots on that left lane.
Good lesson for the viewers at home. The pros virtually move on every shot. They're always making those subtle adjustments on the approach, and sometimes you don't move quite quick enough.
Something bothered him. I don't know whether it was... we have a screen down there that the photographers are behind, whether it was them or something else.
Ernie Schlegel is certainly no stranger to distractions. And there you see a shot of the photographer's curtain, and so we'll see what changes are made.
He's probably noticing that pretty girl down there.
That's
saying,
a possibility.
Hey, she's too attractive. Get her.
His wife, Catherine, watching the telecast.
Only kidding, Catherine.
That's right. Great lady. She's helped coach him along, I'll tell you that. Done a remarkable job of it. Well, we've yet to see a strike here in the semifinal game. How about right now? Well, finally back in the fight.
Bryan Alpert seems to be the crowd favorite here, Oz.
I think they all heard what Grandpa was going to give him.
Watch the 6-pin, second from the right. Goes to the sideboard, gets out that 10. You know that you got the good lift and fingers in the ball when you see that kind of reaction.
Boy, I like the way he gets down there, nice, low, knee bend. You could do that at one time, couldn't you, Mike?
5 years ago.
Yeah. The problem was you couldn't get back up. Well, this would be a big double, no question about that. Put some pressure right back on Schlegel.
Alpert up by 2, can increase it to 12 if he can strike.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. So the youngster performing like a veteran. He doubles in the third and the fourth, takes a 12-pin lead, and when we return, Ernie Schlegel will have to step up and try and apply some pressure to this youngster from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Fat chance. Finding a faucet made as well as a price fister. After all, it's the one made in its own USA foundry. The one uniquely fashioned with a heart of solid brass. Start to finish, the quality is first rate. Furthermore, the cost is a fraction of what you'd expect. So why fiddle around? Get a price fister. The fabulous faucet with a funny name.
Introducing Kodacolor Gold 100.
I see your true colors shining through. See your true colors shining through.
Kodacolor Gold 100 gives you the most accurate colors, the truest colors of any print film.
Don't be afraid to let them show.
a new Kodacolor Gold.
Your true
Welcome back to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl in Dublin, California, and our gracious host has decided to spend a little time with us here in the broadcast booth. Earl, welcome, and another great tournament.
Thank you, Denny. It's nice to be with you.
Ernie Schlegel going to step up now in the fourth, and he trails by 12, and I think we've alleviated the problem. It was the still photographers, and they were moving the camera lenses around and distracted Ernie just a little bit, so hopefully that situation has been rectified. And the wall shot, a shot that Earl Anthony was famous for, only it was coming from the other side, right, Earl?
Well, I didn't really carry that many wall shots. My ball would deflect into the 2-pin and then bounce off that into the 5, Denny.
Yeah,
but
right.
you know what it comes down to right now, I think, is you got one player that's very accurate in Ernie Schlegel. Is that right, Mike? And we have a player that really gets the ball to tilt. He really tilts the axis in Bryan Alpert. And to me, even though I think Ernie's accuracy over the long run might be the favorite. Right now, I think Bryan's the favorite in this particular match. If Ernie gets by this match, he's got a good chance to win the championship.
Well, so far, Ernie, I don't think is executing up to his level of ability. He's just not throwing the ball real clean. Lost that one just a little bit. Almost got the break, but didn't.
He's a little quick to the foul line, Mike. It looks to me like Ernie's not keeping his normal tempo. He's rushing the line a little bit, trying to force the shot a little bit. And when Ernie does that, he never strikes. When Ernie is slow to the foul line and can roll the ball and not force it to the pocket, that's when he strikes.
Let me ask you this, Earl. He appears to be distracted by any number of things, and through many years, both you and Mike seem to just be able to dial everything out. What are your feelings about that?
Well, Ernie is one of the players that's very conscious of what's going on around him, very, very much so. And that can be an advantage at times, and it can be a disadvantage. On television, it's definitely a disadvantage. And Mike, I've watched Mike on television a number of times. We've bowled each other on television a number of times. Mike is very cool and calm under pressure, and nothing bothers Mike. And that's the guys that are winners. The guys that nothing bothers, they go out there and they play their game, they do their job, really is what it amounts to. And I think Ernie would have been, he would have won more tournaments if he would have been that better.
So looking for the trick, Alpert really applying the vice grip to Ernie Schlegel, and the youngster from Las Vegas may be ticketed for the title.
Well, you see the difference in styles right here, because Alpert in this particular shot gets the ball wide of where he's been getting it. Watch the ball. Goes out to about the 6th or 5th board, and watch it finish here. He's got room out there where Schlegel has to make an absolute perfect shot to even hit the 1-3 pocket. Right now, Alpert has got this game, right where he wants it. All he has to do is keep executing.
Well, threw a 6-bagger against Dave Husted en route to shooting a big game in game number 1. There you see he leads by 22, could extend it to 32 if he strikes here on the left-hand lead.
Mike, there's the advantage of the heavy roll. Now, Bryan Alpert has a heavy roll on the ball. The ball is creating the pin action we're looking for. Now, watch the ball as it enters the pin in the pocket area. Watch the pins go to the sideboard. The head pin comes off the sideboard, creates the pin action Bryan's looking for. That's not the kind of pin action you'll ever see Ernie Schlegel get with his ball. Ernie's ball has to hit the pocket at a more direct angle to carry the pins. Bryan's ball makes the pins move around.
This next shot is just an absolute must shot for Schlegel. He's not really made a good shot on the left lane yet, but he's got to put some pressure on this young kid, or he's going to be too far behind and too little room to catch up.
Earl, through all those years, you made so many great key shots. What was your swing thought when you really had to strike?
Fundamentals, Denny. Always fundamentals, and I think anybody that's been on the tour long enough to know what's going on out there, as Mike and I have both been out there, you always think of fundamentals. Walk slow, let the ball swing through your target. That's the key thing. You've been out there, you've done it before. That's what you have to do, and that's what Ernie is thinking right now. Ernie's a 20-year veteran. He's been there a long time. Must shot.
He likes it, and rightfully so, he strikes and bounces back a little bit. Trails now by 22 pins, but Alpert works on the 4-bagger. When we come back, we'll see if Ernie Schlegel can try and subdue the youngster from Las Vegas.
Americans buy lots of imported cars. Isn't it nice to know that Napa has the parts right here when you need them? Don't miss the boat on parts for imports. come to Napa. Your neighborhood Napa Auto Parts store has more than 125,000 parts for the typical American car. Whatever that is.
Fixing this water damage will cost $1,200. Could I have prevented it?
You could with new improved Thompson's Water Seal.
This water damage is going to run $750. What would have stopped it?
New improved Thompson's Water Seal. Thompson's now has 50% more active ingredients to protect wood, brick, or concrete from water damage with a lot more waterproofing power.
This time, I'm going to protect my new deck with Thompson's Water Seal. A great defense against repair expense.
Senior golfers are on the move. They try to drive defending champion Chichi Rodriguez off course at the Southwestern Bell Classic, beginning Friday afternoon, live on ESPN.
Mike Durbin back with Denny Schreiner here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. We're going to see the two different hand releases of both Bryan Alpert and Ernie Schlegel. Bryan Alpert on your left. There's his 5-step approach. Now watch as he gets to the next last step. Look at perfect timing. The ball's right at the peak of the backswing. Schlegel is also 5 steps. Alpert right behind the ball. Schlegel right behind the ball. Now Ernie gets to his next to last step. Alpert on the left turns, gets to the side of the ball, thumb out, and heavy lift. Schlegel also has a small turn. Now watch it, a small turn here, but more behind the ball, more loft, and the thumb not quite as clean out of ball as Alpert. The result is that Alpert has got a 22-pin lead.
And he's also working on a 4-bagger. He started that string of 6 consecutive strikes against Dave Husted in the 3rd as well, so this one's a carbon copy.
Very meticulous. Wants that perfect feel. Tells you something about his personality. Oh! Wasn't his ace shot. Didn't quite get the heavy lift he had, but everything's going right. Look at the eyes. Tongue comes out a little bit. Boy, head right down. He spots really close.
Yeah, his eyes went right to the foul line. Might even be spotting at the dots, huh?
He definitely reacted. He gets a little animated.
He's chopping some tall timber here. He already disposed of Dave Husted in quick fashion.
And this is foreign territory to him. He's never been here before. Up by 32, can make it 42. Really squeezed Mr. Schlegel. Here it comes. Oh, he's just dice-o-matic.
That one just exploded at the pocket, and Alpert basically has taken control of the semifinal match, and we could have a couple of youngsters in the championship game here of the Kessler Open.
He's doing the same thing to Schlegel that he did to Houston. 2 spares and 6 in a row, and Schlegel has to strike. Down 42, he's got to strike twice. And Ernie, when he gets in these pressure situations in the past, usually goes to the high hard one. In other words, a little more speed, a little more direct.
Good shot there.
Very professional.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Classy shot by Ernie Schlegel, who realizes many years he's come from behind to win.
Watch how clean he gets out of this ball. Perfect timing. Very good lift. Stayed behind it. Right in there. Watch the 6-pin. Just nudge that 10 out of there.
247 would be the highest possible score that Ernie could shoot.
And Bryan Alpert right now is going at a 249 pace. Ernie has to have this one.
Left-hand lane has been the lane that's given him a little more trouble, too.
Kind of hesitated there. Oh, nice shot.
Well, through the years, anyone who has admired Ernie Schlegel's play has realized that he will never give up. I don't care what the odds or what the circumstances are.
There's the release. Very clean. Watch the 6-pin again. Knocks that 10 right out of there. We see Schlegel moving to the right, yelling at that ball and pins. He ought to get a little more animated. If he just get into it, he might do something.
Boy, it's a shame he can't get involved in his bowling. And this cool customer here, you'd think that he had already won 15 or 20 titles.
Pretty much all over, but the shot, if he continues to throw the ball like that.
He just needs a mark. Spare or strike. He's in the 250s right now. The only way Schlegel can win is for Alpert to open and Schlegel to strike out.
Ernie checking out the score and realizing that time is running out, and he may just have to sit by and watch this one happen, and that's a frustrating feeling.
Knowing that you're bowling well.
Sure.
And he's really turned it around. From the early part of the game, he wasn't throwing the ball well. The last 4 have been great shots.
Excellent. Well, both players have really labeled the pocket.
You realize, Dan, counting the position round last night when he shot 259, 247, is that what he bowled the first game? And now he could have 279 this game. That man's going to have to write out a pretty big check.
Well, obviously his grandfather, a benevolent soul.
What's the word, philanthropist? Is that the...
Bryan may not even be aware of that. At this point, the money is secondary. A victory here does a lot of things for a young player. Number one, qualifies him for the Firestone Tournament.
I don't even know if he knows that he's won the game. He's going through the same meticulous preparation that he does every other shot.
Well, why not when you get results like this? As I said, 279, a very familiar number to this youngster. He shot a pair of 279s back-to-back just to make the top 24.
Watch the 6-pin again. The ball hits half pocket. He's just been carrying that hit all day long, or all night long. And there's a proud, happy mama right now.
Ernie Schlegel going to finish third and collect a check worth $7,000, and there really wasn't much he could do about it.
Wasn't that he bowled poorly. There you have it, his magic number this week.
Handshake from Ernie Schlegel, really was cut to the quick here by a 23-year-old right-hander from Las Vegas who is rolling some big numbers.
Schlegel made the 4-9. Yeah. Got 5 in a row himself. Can finish with 7 in a row. Have 8 strikes out of 12 and didn't have a chance to win if he strikes this game out.
Well, sometimes I guess it just happens that way.
It's the type of situation, Dan, you walked in, if you'd have known beforehand that you were going to bowl 247, you say, I'll take it right now and not even throw a ball.
Every day of the week you'd take 247. So a disappointed Ernie Schlegel will finish up third this week, but, gee, Merry Christmas. And there's a nice shot of Don Hillman, newly elected president of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, replacing Sonny Franz, who did such a marvelous job. And Schlegel strikes out. Normally 247 would be a terrific number, but tonight it's just not enough. Fans standing by here for the championship game, but before we get to that, let's update you on the latest in bowling news.
I should have bought a Frigidaire.
There's only one Frigidaire.
I should have bought a Frigidaire.
Ask for it by name.
I'll take the Frigidaire. Now.
Frigidaire. Here today, here tomorrow.
Big is back! Big sun, big save, big splash, big wave, big hat, big drink, big kiss, big wing, big fee, big fry, big bite, big guy. Good time, great taste. Super size makes it my place.
Super sizes are back. Larger than large Coca-Cola. Super size shakes and fries. For limited time, they're as quick as a drive-through.
Big fries, real thick, big cold, real quick. A good time, great taste of McDonald's. Big fun.
Hi there. You looking for Mr. Right?
Give this guy a light. And Bud Light here.
Ask for Bud Light.
The light beer with the first name and taste. Because everything else is just a light.
Thanks. Keep the chains.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Bowling News. And considering the fact that the touring pros are back in action after a 2-week layoff, now might be an opportune time to take a look at the top 10 money winners and also average leaders, and we'll also scan the point list at this stage of the 88 campaign. With 16 events under his belt, Topeka's Bob Benoit has now earned nearly $160,000. Pete Weber, who added $1,200 to his bank account this week, is still a close second, while Brian Voss, Mark Williams, and Marshall Holman have all surpassed that $100,000 barrier. Tony Westlake finished up 39th this week, and he is now 6th in the payroll parade, while Dave Ferraro, Joe Berardi, Steve Cook, and, of course, championship round finalist Dave Husted comprise the rest of the top 10. With an average of better than .219 at this point, Mark Roth is heading for an unprecedented 6th George Young Memorial High Average Award. But with the likes of Pete Weber and Brian Voss less than one stick off the pace, Mark had better not let up at this stage. Meanwhile, Tampa, Florida's Tom Kreitz is currently number 6. Marshall Holman, who is expected to return to action next week in Seattle, is now number 7. Rick Steelsmith, Pete McCordick, and Walter Ray Williams Jr. currently round out the top 10. On top of the stack in the 1988 point race at this stage in time is 6-time PBA champion Brian Voss, but Dave Husted is quietly heading for that number 1 position. Tony Westlake is now 3rd, while Walter Ray Williams Jr. and a resurgent Wayne Webb is currently on the comeback trail. The changing of the guard of the world's largest women's sports organization will take place coming up on July 1st. As shown here on the cover of the latest issue of Woman Bowler magazine, on the left, Helen Baker of Cocoa Beach, Florida, will be turning over the gavel to new president Gladys Banker of Charlestown, West Virginia. The first World Youth Invitational 10-pin bowling championships will be coming up, and they'll be held in Manila, the Philippines, and they will be hosted by the Philippines Bowling Congress. Should be an interesting event. The tournament will be sanctioned by the FIQ, bowling's world amateur governing body. Included on this year's team are Donna DeTrani, who represented the USA in the World Cup, and also Justin Romick, a star of tomorrow. The finest young bowlers from all over the world will be testing their talents from July 1st through the 7th. 1988 was a very exciting year among the collegiate bowling ranks, and here's now a look at some of the outstanding players who played pivotal parts during that 88 campaign. The 6th annual All-America men's team, as selected by the National Collegiate Bowling Coaches Association, was headed up by Chris Vial of William Patterson College. Chris was also selected as the most valuable player and the Rookie of the Year. And, of course, the good news is he's only a freshman. Penn State's Jackie Sellers, 2-time Collegiate Bowler of the Year, was an overwhelming selection to this year's first team. The talented junior was also named the MVP of the 88 season. Jackie was joined by teammate Sheila Allen, along with Carolyn Doran, Sharon Owen, and also Kathy Edwards among the first-team members. From June 28th all the way through July 2nd, the Bowling Proprietors Association of America will be convening for the 56th time. The keynote speaker for this year's gathering in New York City is author Sports Adventure George Plimpton. That should be a lot of fun. Now it's time for Mike to update us on the proceedings here this evening.
Well, so far we've had 3 very exciting matches. In the opening match, we saw a great match between Dave Husted and Scott Devers. Went right down to the 10th frame, and Dave Husted needed that first strike in the 10th frame. Responded like the veteran that he is under the pressure. Not only got the first strike, but got struck out in that 10th frame to win that first match, 216 to 201. And it looked at that time, Den, that we might see a Husted roll. At least that's what we thought, because we had a young, inexperienced player coming on, Bryan Alpert. And you never know what these young players are going to do. And I'm sure Husted was very confident at that point. But as we went through, Husted ran into a buzzsaw as Alpert started off 10-pin, 10-pin, 6 in a row right after that. Husted had most every ball in the pocket, but all he could get was 218, and that wasn't close enough. He lost by almost 30, 247 to 218. And in the match that we just saw, we thought that the veteran Ernie Schlegel might intimidate a little bit Bryan Alpert. I don't think Alpert even knew who he was bowling, or maybe he doesn't know what city he's in, as he went 10-pin or 7-pin, 10-pin, and then 10 strikes in a row. 279. He's had 2 279s already this week. This makes his 3rd. That's his favorite number. Schlagel bowled a great game. 8 strikes, 247,
not even close.
Well, as we alluded to in the opening to the telecast this evening, lanes 33 and 34 have been fairly high scoring through the years here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. And, of course, last year was a classic example because Mark Baker had been struggling, came in here and bowled very well all week long, and then in the title match, struck on 8 of the first 9 shots. And we're going to take a look back and see what happened last year because it was David Ozio and also Mark Baker in the championship.
David Ozio throwing his, I believe, his second ball in the 10th frame here. He had to strike twice in the 10th frame in order to make Mark Baker mark, and he got that first one. The second one, Baker knew at this point that he won. He wasn't able to rise to the occasion and get that pressure strike when he needed. Ozio, who is a veteran player and a very good clutch player, was unable to respond to that kind of pressure. Tonight, we've got 2 rookies responding to that kind of pressure, bowling their first title for both players.
So many times, though, Mike, and we've talked about this, when a player makes the national finals for the first time, there's really no fear because they haven't been there before. And if you get off to a good start, you get this feeling that I could beat anybody. Put Earl Anthony out there, Mark Roth, Marshall Holman, it doesn't make any difference. And when you've got Ray Valdovino out there, a player who has never been there before, it'll be interesting to see how he handles the pressure. There's a look at the top seed as he throws a couple of practice shots and tries to loosen up here. But we have 2 unknown quantities, one who has performed brilliantly here this evening, and the other, well, he is still untested, and we'll have to find out. Stay tuned. The opening match in the $130,000 Kessler Open coming up next between red-hot Bryan Alpert and the top seed, the local player from Sacramento, California, Ray Valdovino.
This is it. The last of the 88s have arrived. Your last chance for factory cash rebate. Your last chance to save big. On Sunday, a $500 cash rebate. On Colt, $1,000 cash rebate. $1,250 on a Colt Vista wagon. And a whopping $1,800 on a Sporty Conquest. 5.8% financing is available, too, on selected models. The last of the 88s have arrived. And when they're gone, they're gone. So hurry to Lindgren Chrysler Plymouth, 1600 Lancaster Avenue, Reading. Berks County's largest Chrysler Plymouth dealer. We deliver more than just a car.
For the widest variety of quality entertainment, stay tuned to the A&E Cable Network.
It was a time of nightmare, horror, pain, and tragedy. A&E presents Why We Fight, the most interesting and provocative 7-part documentary series ever produced. Hollywood director Frank Capra captures the world at war with a brilliant look at the propaganda and passions of yesteryear. Wednesdays.
My athlete's foot kept flaring up. I'd put it out, and it'd just flare up again. Then my doctor told me about Tinactin. It cures recurring athlete's foot. Use it regularly, and it'll keep the fire from coming back.
Tinactin puts the fire out for good.
Like millions of Americans, would you like to own your own business? Sportit, a national dealership organization, will help you to become your own boss in the exciting sporting goods industry. You'll offer thousands of brand-name sporting goods from Sportit's exclusive catalog program, and you'll work from your own home. Over 1,000 Sportit dealers nationwide. Call toll-free 1-800-328-3820 for your free Sportit brochure, or write Sportit, Minneapolis, Minnesota 55433. Sportit.
Top contenders battle for the North American Super Welterweight title. Lupe Aquino faces the undefeated Royan Hammond. Budweiser presents Top Rank Boxing Friday night, live on ESPN.
And we're back at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl in Dublin, California. Bryan Alpert and Ray Valdovino, a couple of bunny rabbits in the championship match. Both these players had to qualify just to get to the tournament proper.
And Bryan Alpert never ceases to amaze me. He looks like he can't breathe out there. And he just keeps throwing strikes.
Well, he's averaging 263 even for 2 games in the championship round, and I'd be kind of confident if I were him. And a quick re-rack on lane 33, opening shot, and he wants to make sure the pins are on spot.
Well, he's got this presence of mind about him, and enough to be able to see the pins and say, hey, I don't like that rack.
Well, he hasn't seen many spares. Finished with 10 consecutive strikes.
So he's going for an Andy Vera pop-up, but he gets 2 more.
That's right.
For those who don't know, an Andy Vera pop-up 300 is any 12 strikes in a row.
Well, miracles really do happen. That's what Ray Valdovino was saying. This guy actually missed striking here.
But he started every game that way.
That's right. 2 spares and then
Two spares and then adios.
Takes him a couple of frames to get loosened up, I guess. Boy, has he just performed brilliantly here this evening. One of the rising young stars on the PBA Tour, and we mentioned the Open, too. So many of the younger players get a chance to come out and play on the summer tour, and we're liable to see a few more before it's all over on ESPN.
And again, as I said at the top of the show, Dan, it's indicative of the talent in the PBA that a player that no one has ever heard of, Bryan Alpert, except for his local people, comes out here and just performs so great under this kind of pressure.
On any given night. And here's your first real good close-up look at Ray Valdovino.
4 steps. Very direct. Nice free swing. I like his game. He's got a nice, solid game. Just drilled it right in there. I think the next shot is just a key shot here, almost right away. The way Alpert's been going, Valdovino, I think, has to get out ahead of him quickly. You know, put some pressure on this other guy.
Ray with an average of 225.
And he wants a re-rack.
The championship pair this week, and he's asking for it. Conferring with Harry Golden.
See, and
it wasn't his first order of business.
That's right. The rule says that it has to be his first order of business. He had picked up his bowling ball and then asked for the re-rack, and our tournament director, Harry Golden, would not give him the re-rack.
So inexperience playing a key role here if he doesn't strike, perhaps, on the left-hand lane.
He sure didn't. He left that 10-pin. Now, that can bother you mentally and emotionally as well as in the score. The fact that he wanted that re-rack because he didn't observe the rules, which he was instructed last night. There's a meeting that the tournament director has with all these top 5 players, and he tells them that. And it just slipped his mind. He hasn't been here before.
Accelerates through the shot on the cross alley spare, so it's a spare up in frame number 2, and Alpert continues here in the championship game. Someone will win $20,000 for first, second place worth $10,500.
Bryan just fidgets with that ball and then blows that hair out. He goes through the same routine every time. Right there, boy. Just thinking in my mind right now, the thought that comes to my mind is, how does Valdovino have a chance? I mean, the way this kid's throwing the ball. But you never know.
All right, let me ask you this. Does your feeling change, your strategy change when it's for a title as compared to a semifinal victory?
Oh, it can definitely change.
Pressure really starts to weigh heavy on your shoulders now.
You can, I can remember at the PBA National, I came out and shot 240 the first game, and then the next game bowled Earl and shot 180, and I hit the pocket almost every time, but because I was squeezing a little bit, I didn't get that carry. He evidently is not squeezing.
Alpert making the championship pair look ridiculously easy.
He threw this ball so well. It had such heavy roll. That side rotation that we've been looking at, hits half pocket. We've seen this all day. 6-pin knocks the 10 out. And he gives it a little, all right.
Back to live action in the third. Valdovino. Nice crisp shot up the track. 8-pin. Thought about standing up. And there's his lovely wife.
And she looked tense.
Yeah, well, $20,000 is a lot of money.
The least he can make today is $10,500. He didn't look at that rack again, though. He just grabbed the ball and got up there. He may think, I don't know what he's thinking right now.
Maybe he can't get one.
He better strike right now. Has to hurry. Bad break. Could have struck. You see him do that with his hand? Mm-hmm. That meant that he didn't get the lift on the ball. He went over the top for him. He didn't stay behind it and get that good firm fingers, and the result was that weak 5. He knew he needed to break the strike on that strike shot. Easy spare.
And now he's in a position where he's loosened up just a little bit, but he trails by 10. The big problem, though, is this man is working on a double, and when he's worked on a double before, it's turned into a four-bagger. Let's see what happens. We'll be right back.
You give it your best, so we give you ours, and things keep looking better all the time. Lose sight, it's a science and an art. You get great color from the start. Lose sight when it's coming from the heart. It's the science and the art of painting.
Give it your best. Give it Lucite.
Columbia 300 knows that all bowlers are not created equal. That's why Columbia 300 has spent years in research just to have the right bowling ball for you. If you need less weight, the light dot. Bowl on drier lanes, the white dot. The perfect all-round ball, the world-famous yellow dot. And if you're ready for urethane, the Columbia 300 U-Dot is your ultimate weapon. Columbia 300, sold only in lanes and pro shops.
July is a total sports celebration on ESPN. Great golf with the British Open and U.S. Women's Open. Race Day America featuring the Grand Prix of France, plus live IMSA and IndyCar excitement. July serves up a pivotal Davis Cup showdown. Baseball's AAA All-Star Game and Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, indoor football's Arena Bowl 88, and Wednesday night PBA Tour action. All in July on ESPN.
And a look at the beautiful trophy, which will be bestowed on one of these two gentlemen, either Bryan Alpert or Ray Valdovino. And, of course, a nice check worth $20,000 will be dropped inside, courtesy of the good folks at Kessler. You know, through the years, since 1979, Kessler has sponsored 17 PBA events, and they're one of the finest sponsors that the National Tour really has.
Certainly are. Bryan Alpert has a chance to almost double his career earnings here with what Grandpa's going to kick in, and even more than that. Is he going to get it? Is it? No. Life for Valdovino.
A reprieve, as it were.
It really is. The way this kid gets going, once he starts stringing strikes, he doesn't stop.
Well, he enjoys striking, I think.
I think all the pros out here enjoy striking. Yeah. So it's donuts that get up there that we don't enjoy.
Yeah.
Cross lane at the 10 pin.
It's just, ooh.
It hung on.
So much fun to see some young faces, some guys who have never been in this position before, get a chance to perform on national television. And, of course, coming up right after our telecast this evening, John Saunders and Tom Mees is standing by at Sports Center, the boys from Bristol, Connecticut, ready to update you on everything you'd ever want to know about sports. And, of course, your favorite story will be the lead story this evening, the Lakers repeating as NBA champions.
You got that right.
Folks, he has a smile on his face from ear to ear. Perhaps the biggest Lakers fan since Jack Nicholson, Mike Durden. Looking to go back to the pocket.
I thought that ball might creep a little high, but never did. You know, I find an interesting bit of psychology going on here. Valdovino has the better shot on the right lane, but it's my opinion that he picked the finish on the left lane because he did not want to have to double to win the title. Inexperience again. You always pick the finish on your best lane. .245, boy, he needed. Of course, in a situation like that, it might not be bad. If he makes the spare and can relax a little bit and go over and get a strike on 33, then maybe he can come back and get that double on 34 that's been his better lane. He's got to make this spare.
Still a long way to go, though, Mike. Of course, if Alpert doubles in the 6th, it'll create a few problems.
Never a doubt. Never a doubt.
I think she was doubting just a touch.
Just a touch?
Yeah, not much. Boy, he's really been supported well here by all of his fans from the nearby Sacramento area, and they came down and were here all week long cheering him on, and he just bowled brilliantly. Was never lower than 3rd at any time during this championship, and I think it's the only second event he has bowled this year, and he really doesn't have much experience, but he hung in there tough all week.
He needs to get something going right here. See, it's that relaxation. But he needs for Alpert to slow down just a little bit and say, hey, wait for me, you know, another frame here.
Hold on, I'll be right with you.
Alpert, who I don't think has missed the pocket the whole day.
Nope. He's just been living there.
Oh, my goodness. Did you see that ball come back? Yep. He threw that ball 2 to 3 boards further to the right, and the ball still made it back. Watch it. And it goes out to the 6th board there, 6th or 7th, and further out down to about the 4th board here, and almost goes high. That ball finished right over the 8 pin. It couldn't have left a solid 8 because the ball hit it.
Well, you could see when he let it go. He was concerned, but no need for that. Up by 22 and really could apply the pressure if he strikes here.
First really bad break he's had. He didn't carry that 7 pin. He's carried that hit 2 or 3 times. "21 pins if he makes the spare."
At the Payne Stewart look with the hair.
Yes.
Contemporary.
Never a doubt.
Why do you keep saying that? You were a good spare shooter.
Valdovino's got a strike right here, Dan. This is the biggest shot of the match for him right here.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah. 2-4-5 on the right-hand lane the last trip. Let's see if he makes the adjustment.
Perfect. Guy needs one more. He can't be satisfied with that one. That cuts it to 11. One more cuts it to 1. Now he's looking at that rack and he wants to re-rack. He learned. That was his first order business, and he's going to get it. It just takes that experience. He's really doing very well for his first time on TV. Both of them are outstanding.
Tremendous. Aren't you glad you're not bowling one of those two?
Yes.
The honesty of Mike Durbin, my partner.
He wants another one. He's asking for another re-rack. Says, I got 3, and you didn't give me that one in the 2nd frame, so I'm going to use them all here.
Do you think he's buying Tyler, or does he just not like the rack?
No, I think he doesn't like the rack. He knows that this is his more difficult lane, and he knows how important this shot is.
This flips things around a little bit. He could cut the lead to just 1 with a strike here.
As much time as he took, though, it's going to be very difficult, I think, for him to make a good shot. But he did, and he carried. Oh, we got a ball game here.
Valdovino with a classic strike in frame number 8.
Watch it. See what hits the 10 pin here. This ball comes in, what they call the old can opener hit. It's going to open up. And I never did. I couldn't tell yet what hit that 10 pin. The 6 pin moved to the right. The ball splits the 5-6 there.
It's kind of a weird hit. Good result. 8th frame action now for Alpert, and time to get back to striking.
That's the lane he's going to finish on, too. He can't throw it too wide on that lane.
248, the best possible score that he could post. 247. Valdovino would take it right off the sheet. Oh, my goodness.
Bryan up by 1 pin, and he knows how important this shot is. On the last shot, he had no reaction, but if he strikes here, there definitely will be a body reaction.
Exemption. A trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
So important for both bowlers. crowd is really into this. He couldn't have thrown this ball any better. Wham! And he says, yes.
Geez, I thought somebody cut a hole in the floor there for a moment.
Valdovino now back to 11 down. Has to strike here. This has been his good lane. He's got to strike.
Boy, did he bowl great in the clutch situations last night.
Will it carry? Yes. One pin going into the 10th frame of these two inexperienced players performing better than we've seen many veterans over the weeks.
And there you see a little bit of pressure there.
Watch this shot. He just split that 6th, 7th forward in there. Forward roll, rolls up there solid. He's saying to himself, now this is the first time the whole game that he's had the opportunity to take the lead. And he's saying, I've got to make the best shot I've made all week right here. Remember what Earl said, fundamentals. Will it get there? No. But he is not out of it. He got 9. That puts him 2 pins behind. He fiddled with that release just a little bit, pulled the thumb in and put it back, pulled it out, put it back in. And to me, it just didn't look like he was set and ready to throw the ball. But he has to make this spare, get his wits about him. Strike here is very important, Dan.
Possibility to shoot 226, which is pretty good for an opening championship try.
We could have a tie.
Well, that would add to the fun. I know that John Saunders and Tom Mees would love to see a tie, and maybe a tiebreaker.
Strike finishes at 226. He needs it desperately. That's what he was looking for on the first one.
Well, a nice round of applause from the jam-packed crowd here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl for Ray Valdovino. Terrific performance, but it may not be enough.
See, what that means, though, is that Bryan Alpert has to strike somewhere to win. He needs to fill 19 pins in the 10th frame in order to win. If he strikes this first ball, it's all over. If he gets 9, he must make it. Here it comes. There it is. That's the way to win.
Valdovino being consoled by Ted Hoffman, the general manager here, and Valdovino, I think, is saying to himself, I think tonight the better man actually won.
And he threw it wide again. He knew this lane was going to come back, and he just trusted it beautifully. Oh, how did they throw it that well under that kind of pressure? And there's his reaction. He knows what that means. I'm exempt now. I'm going to the Firestone now.
Oh, these two youngsters have really provided us with some excitement here this evening. Wow. It's time to stay behind the line, let it go, and 6 is more than enough, Mike Durbin.
Yeah, even if he missed them all, he's got 230. But if he'd have thrown that on the first shot,
that's right,
he'd have lost.
Oh, my goodness. $20,000 richer in a trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions, trying to gather his composure right now. And, oh, my goodness, what a night. A night that he'll never, ever forget. Or the fans that were here this evening, it was a dandy. 2 young players hooked up in a beautiful duel for the Kessler Open Championship. The final score, 234 to 226. And we'll be back with a presentation of the trophy and the check right after this.
You want anything?
How about a light?
Whoa. Oh, Bob. Could you make that a Bud Light?
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Did you see? No.
Did you? No. Bud Light.
because everything else is just a light.
No matter what size painting project you're planning, you can count on True Test paint from True Value hardware stores. You can't beat a good all-weather coat for year-round protection. So give your home a coat of True Test Weatherall acrylic latex paint. It stands up to year-round weather, from rain and snow to scorching summer sun. Choose flat, satin, or gloss finishes in ready-mix colors and white, starting at just $10.98 a gallon. You'll find True Test paint exclusively at participating True Value hardware stores.
Hi. I've been looking all over for this terrific video cassette I heard about. It's called The All-New Not-So-Great Moments in Sports. There's scenes where Darryl Dawkins renovates NBA backboards.
That's a fantastic video. The all-new Not-So-Great Moments in Sports is 45 minutes of the funniest film I've ever seen.
Great, so you have it.
No store has this version, but you get it free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. You get 25 weeks of SI, including the Pro Football Preview, the beautiful swimsuit issue, the Summer Olympic Special issue, the commemorative Olympic pin set,
And the all-new Not-So-Great Moments in Sports?
You get it all. Just call Sports Illustrated's toll-free number and you'll get SI for over 47% off the cover price. Just 3 monthly installments of $9.89 each. You can even use a credit card.
I gotta get to a phone. What's that number again?
Here, 1-800-777-2100.
Hi. Have you heard of a video cassette called The All-New Not-So-Great Moments in Sports?
And the winner of the $130,000 Kessler Open, 23-year-old Bryan Alpert. And, Bryan, I know so many things probably going through your mind at this stage, but to win your first championship in that kind of a fashion was spectacular.
Well, it was, I just wanted to bowl good. I didn't want to come out here and, not bowl good. I wanted to bowl good. That's all I can think of right now.
Well, I think you basically accomplished that feat, and a gentleman that's going to present you with a $20,000 check will stand in now, Mr. Jim Barrett, representing Kessler Whiskey. And, Jim, it doesn't get much better than that. Brilliant performance by Mr. Alpert.
Bryan, you did a fantastic job. I think tonight you were probably the best bowler in the world tonight. And I want to, I certainly want to, congratulate you. And secondly, I want to give you this check representing your very first PBA title. And not bad for a day's work. And once you're through celebrating, I'd like to invite you to come back in 3 weeks, where in Riverside, California, we'll be having the Kessler Classic, and Bryan will have an opportunity to double his money in that tournament, July 13th. Thank you. Good work. Yeah.
And now let's bring in Mr. Ted Hoffman, general manager and co-proprietor here. And Teddy, you've seen the winner's circle before on the national tour. Boy, he's a Western Region member too.
I'd say I don't know who to root for, Ray or Bryan. They're both my regional players, and I think it's great. But on behalf of Earl Anthony, Kessler, myself, and all the many bowling fans here in Dublin, congratulations, Bryan. I'm happy you won your first tournament here. We'll look forward to seeing you next year.
First of all, I'd like to thank Jim Barrett for running this and sponsoring this tournament. And Earl Anthony, thank you. It's great. And all the fans here, thank you.
All right, nicely done, nicely said. And we're going to take off here from Dublin, California. Stand by, Sports Center coming up next. And I'm sure Bryan will be watching. So long. Championship round finals of the $130,000 Kessler Open have been brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by True Value Hardware. It's more than our name, it's our way of doing business. Next week on ESPN, the PBA Summer Tour heads for Skyway Park Bowl in Seattle, Washington, for the finals of the $115,000 Seattle Open beginning at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on ESPN.